quick tip. That was kind of rambling there. So, hey, I want to do a live just on some tips on lead process management, and mostly when it comes to the used car lead process management, because again, that's kind of what we're focused on, making sure dealers are improving used car operations. And one of the things that we do is we combine your CRM data with your inventory data and create a lot walk and make sure our customers and cars are being taken care of. And so with that, we're digging into new elements of reporting that I think are important to tracking our performance on lead management and or with inventory management, really, and the new way to approach lead management. So let's talk about that first. Okay, typical, and I probably covered this before. I want to make sure I revisit it because I want to show you the numbers. I'll show you some stats here on activities being done by BDC or internet reps, whatever you may have, or salespeople following up with leads. So a typical CRM is going to be set up to manage leads based on the age of the lead. Okay, meaning when the lead is fresh, we call an email more frequently. Then when it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks old, it's spread out. So maybe once a week, once a month. A lot of systems have AI following up with leads after 14 days, and then they let this AI follow up with them. But you got to be careful with that because you got to make sure that we are not just doing automated emails and AIs following up with a lead on a sold car, and the customer knows that car is no longer there. So you got to kind of watch that activity, make sure that's flowing appropriately. But a lot of times dealerships are giving up on leads after 30 days. I can tell you this right now. My wife is shopping for a car. We're going to be involved in 3 car purchases over the next 6 months. Just co-signed and bought a car for my son a couple weeks ago. My wife's lease is up in 6 months, but we could probably do something now. So she's test drove cars Saturday, yesterday, today. And she is all over the place. I feel bad for the dealerships that are helping her. And that's one thing I've noticed too, is a lot of people don't want to help her too much unless she's ready to do something today. That's another video. But we might buy this week, we might buy 6 months from now. Any dealership that doesn't continue to try to help her with her decisions, because she is all over the place. 5 different makes. And of those makes, probably 8 different trim levels. Probably 10 different trim levels. So following up on a lead based on the age of the lead is irrelevant to where they are in their buying cycle. We don't know if they're ready to buy today or if they're ready to buy 60 days from now. So the best way I think to follow up with leads is based on situations that you can control and situations that are happening on your lot. Example would be if you're not selling enough out of your 31 to 45 age bucket. Maybe there's 30 cars sitting there, and over the last couple of weeks, you've only sold a couple cars out of that age bucket. That means if you do not increase the sale rate on that age bucket, if you not increase your sale rate on that age bucket, those cars can bleed through to the next bucket and start becoming an aging problem. So you need to increase the sale rate on the age bucket. So instead of just dropping prices on cars, if you happen to have any leads on cars that are 31 to 45 days old, we're probably going to want to increase the contact ratio on any of those leads to increase that sale rate so I don't have to drop price. Again, we're trying to protect profit margin here. So let's say I have 80 leads on these 30 cars. I'm probably going to want to call and email those leads every day, every other day to increase that sale rate on that situation on my lot. The problem is if some of those cars have 30, 40-day-old leads on them, our CRM's not triggering us to call them every day, every other day, because most CRMs, they're not talking car situation, lot situation. Again, it's going to say it's a 30-day-old lead. Don't worry about following up with them, but every week, every other week, or we'll let AI do it for you. Next, let's say you're heavy in intermediate SUVs, or let's say you're heavy in 2018 vehicles. Well, we should isolate those vehicles and any leads on those cars, call and email those leads on those cars, regardless of the age of the lead, because it's a situation on my lot that I need to be taken care of. And I don't want to just drop prices or drive new, fresh leads. Let's work the leads we already have and see if we can get this sales cycle increased on those segments based on what's happening on my lot. So again, that's what we're doing. We're helping dealerships find the active leads on cars still in stock based on situations on my lot, and let's increase the contact frequency on those leads to increase the sale rate so I don't have to drop pricing, if that all makes sense. Okay. So once we start connecting these dots, we'll also show you active leads on sold cars, because you'll see anywhere from 60 to 70% of your current active leads in the last 60 days are on cars that are sold. So what are we doing with that? What's that 20-day-old lead on a car that's sold? Let's say they submit a lead on a 2018 Silverado that was priced at 40 grand. Okay, well, that truck sold. Okay, is there another large pickup truck around 40 grand that I can talk to this customer about? Maybe another Silverado, maybe an F-150, maybe a Dodge Ram. Hey, that truck sold, but great news, I got a F-150 with less miles. Would you be interested in this? So not only will we show you, if I have a truck problem, my trucks are bleeding through, what leads you have on those trucks, your contact ratio higher on those trucks, but then other switch leads I could put on these trucks. Hey, this is a lead on a sold truck. Let's put them on trucks still in stock, increase the sale rate. So let me show you something. I'm going to share my screen to the left of me. Hold on one second. I'm going to pick the window. So what I did was we pulled active. So I can see what calls or emails were done yesterday. Okay. So what calls and emails were done on used cars yesterday. So I'm not talking about new car leads. I'm not talking about. So a lot of times we focus on activity in the CRM. So let's look at Taylor down here at the bottom. Taylor, yesterday, total activities in their CRM was 125 activities yesterday. For these 3 reps, 348 activities were completed yesterday. Whatever you think, if that's high or low, that's up to you to decide, because I don't know. Was it salespeople plus they were trying to sell cars? Was it BDC agents? Whatever the number is. If it's 200 or 300, whatever activities you're trying to get out of your staff, that's fine. So let's just focus on that 125 activities that Taylor did. So we might high five Taylor, say, hey, great job. You've been only averaging 100 activities per day. You got up to 125. High five. Okay. But when I looked at used cars, I wanted to know, of those activities, how many of those were done on used cars yesterday? Well, 28 of the 125 activities had to do with cars and inventory, my used cars and inventory. So 78% of the activity that Taylor did yesterday, 78% had nothing to do with my inventory problems or my used car inventory. Now, they could have been new car leads that need to be followed up to, but they also could have been birthday wishes and anniversaries of their car, or a service reminder or a survey reminder. That, again, when we looked at the dealership as a whole, 79% of the activity that was done yesterday had nothing to do with my used car situation. Okay, so I'm going to stop scrolling. So the point is, just because we're doing activity, is it activity productive enough to actually affect my sales and my sales cycle? Did my sale rate on my example earlier, my sale rate on my 31 to 45 age bucket's going down? I'm not selling enough out of it. Is it going down because my pricing went up? Maybe I have the wrong cars in there, or maybe my sale rate went down because my activity on those cars went down. We'll track, if that's an issue and you're 31 to 45, we'll track how many of those leads have been contacted in the last 2 days. Okay. So this would be day 3. So let's say 50% of those leads in this age bucket were contacted in the last 2 days, a week ago. Half of them, which is actually a good stat based on what we're seeing. And then all of a sudden, that 50% of those leads have been contacted in the last 2 days had grown to 90% of those leads haven't been contacted in the last 2 days. So all of a sudden, we went from having pretty good activity on these leads, 50% have been contacted in the last, or haven't been contacted in the last 2 days. Now it's up to 90% of those leads haven't been contacted in the last 2 days. So my question would be, did my sale rate drop on my 31 to 45 age bucket? Or did my sale rate drop on my 2018s? Or did my sale rate drop on my large pickup trucks because of how I priced them? Or do I have the wrong cars and the wrong equipment? Or is it because my contact ratio fell out on my leads that I have? Okay. So this is just, again, another element to slicing and dicing what metrics are important when it comes to lead management. And when it comes to lead management on my used cars, what we're finding is that's where the big gap is. We have a bunch of leads that no one's talking to. Matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a demo here in a little bit with a dealership, and we pulled his data early, and he has a car that's aged, it's 20, 30 days old, now 22 days old, I believe. He's priced at 103%, which is pretty high, because we look at what similar cars are leaving as lot, and probably should be around 96, 97%, but he's at 103. So we might think it's a pricing problem and we need to drop the price based on how similar vehicles are leaving us on. But the problem is he actually has a lead that's 8 days old. So if it's a pricing problem, why do you have a lead, right? If I have a lead on a car, it's not a pricing problem. The problem is that 8 day old lead hasn't been contacted in 7 days. So asking a premium for a car and hoping to get more money for it because, matter of fact, at the 103, they're losing $200 already. So imagine if they did put it at price at 97%, they're probably going to lose $1,500. They don't want to do that. And they shouldn't. If they have an active lead that's interested in this car, but they haven't followed up with it, that's their initial problem. Let's fix that first. If that doesn't work out and you have nobody else to talk to, no switch leads or other leads coming in, then maybe it is a pricing problem. More times than not, we're finding it's a used car process problem. So I hope this was helpful. If you want to kind of see what we could do for your store, again, we're not here to replace your CRMs, but we'll pull the data out of your CRMs, dealer socket, VIN solutions, e-leads, so forth. Drive Centric, we work well with them. And then we'll pull inventory data out of your V Autos, your VinQs, your Max Digitals, your dealers links, and we combine these two to give you a lot walk, customers and cars. And again, this year, we're going to be start slicing and dicing new metrics to figure out really what our used car problem is. And more times than not, again, it's a process problem. So lotpop.com, if you'd like to find out more, check out workthefacts.com. Check out our books. All the metrics that we go over in used car inventory management is here in the book, links to videos and so forth. You can find the book at workthefacts.com. We do a Lotpop University every month. I just finished one this week. Lotpopu.com. We'll have one in March coming up. Come join us every month. It's a day and a half class. It's free. It's free. I love giving back to the community, the business, the automotive world that has blessed me and my family. So there's no catch there. Just come on in. And again, hope this was helpful. Check you next time.